What is up, everybody?
All right, jump right into the song and what this is and why you have it.
So you want to go immediately to the music choice?
Yeah, because it's a weird selection for me. This is like one of those ones where the kids in high school had the big, like the pants that went down and like were like almost bell bottoms at the end, but they're like emo and they had like the chain wallet.
All right.
Jeans, bro?
Wait.
Very emo.
I expected to hear like it sounds like Creed or like Nickelback.
No, like that's what I feel. It's like I don't know, who is it?
The name of the band is Stars, I believe. Let me check. Or no, the name of the song is Stars. The name of the band is Six with two X's, A.M. Bro, this is all no copyright sound music.
6 with 2 X's, A.M.
Yeah.
How do you find something like that?
It's all from Twitch stream music, dude, because they have no copyright, so I can't get hit.
I know.
Like I did for 99 Luft Balloons, a song from 1980 motherfucking 4 that literally we got hit with a music license for. I had a minute muted of the last two podcasts ago.
Yeah, but like all of our music is from Twitch now, and it's all like weird.
I know. I would like to play more songs that are more relevant in the beginning, but we'll get nicked.
How old
That's
is
a newer song. That's from 2018.
Oh wow.
Or sorry, 2014. It's newer. They're all new songs. They're all like EDM and shit.
5-year gap.
Yeah. Well, look, there's a lot there.
All right, fine.
All right, Nick's
I was just curious, man. It just sounded like an early 2000s like.
Well, we got a bone to pick with Proph, but we'll get into that. What's up, everybody? Thanks for hopping on. New From the Hill podcast. Swag's here with the Proph. Also, again, joining us with a mic this time. We're super excited about it. Bryan Pants is in studio. Bryan, say hello to the folks.
What's up?
Bro.
And he has a camera, but it's not on the live stream.
Yeah, unfortunately, it won't be on the live stream, but don't worry. Bryan will make sure that the post video he's included, and it's going to look beautiful because he did an amazing job with the last one. We didn't get to.
That's why you got hit with the copyright, because the video was so good.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Because they're like, damn.
Too many people clicked it.
They're like, damn, this is definitely going to get monetized because look at how cool this video is.
Once you get over 13 people, that would be a stretch. That would be our best ever.
Is that a wide shot? Was that a close up? They better.
Boner says, "R.I.P. to the greatest drummer ever." Did I miss something?
Yes, you did. So Neil Peart died today so some people say Peart, some people say Peart, I think. But so he's from Rush. If you guys are familiar with Rush, he's considered one of, if not the best drummer of all time. And if you've ever seen him play, it's quite a spectacle. So the guy has a drum kit like that would totally cover this entire room, and he just goes and plays. It's pretty nuts.
Well, now when we get done, I'm gonna have to check this out.
Yeah, he's pretty insane. You know Rush.
I know the band. Yeah, sure, I know Rush.
Today's Thomas Soik. Yeah, but yeah, so I did hear that.
Nice. All right, so before we get into the bone that we have to pick with Proph that we just discussed here pre-show, I wanted to talk about something that popped up on Netflix. You know, we like to talk about the new shows on Netflix and the shows that we like to watch. And I sent Proph a text message, and I said, hey, bro, I need you to check this out. The name of this documentary on Netflix is Don't Fuck with Cats. Don't fuck with cats. I'm not kidding. It's Don't Fuck with Cats. They bleep it out like, you know, whatever, your little stars for the UCK.
That's an asterisk.
Thank you, but I prefer it my way.
So like any other person, I treated this
like
you would if somebody said, hey, watch this documentary called Don't F with Cats. Like if anybody texted me, I'm like, I'm totally not watching that. Why would I watch that? I'm not like a big cat guy.
But yeah, so the first thing.
So my first question is, okay, what's that all about?
I'm like, dude, just watch it.
No. So he explains it to me, and he goes, so this guy kills cats on like YouTube. I'm like, oh, you're totally sucking me in right now.
I gotta call timeout. That's the Jack impression right there? Is that what I sound like?
Well, this is you through text. Oh,
okay, that's my text
about
voice.
This guy who kills cats in like a plastic bag, and I'm like, oh, totally something I'm into. Like, why would I watch that?
But you watched it, right?
I did,
and it's incredible, right? And it's amazing. Brian, did you see this show? Have you heard of this?
Half an episode of the first episode. I was watching it like late night TV, about to go to bed, and then it's like getting all suspenseful and shit. And my wife looks at me, she's like, "I was sleepy. Now I can't.
No,
I don't want to watch this.
You're wired.
This shit off."
Like, yeah. Well, let me ask you: was it even in episodes? Was it? I thought it was just one straight run.
No, it's 3 episodes.
That's how I watched it straight through.
That's how good it is. First off, let me just say, and we say this all the time: Netflix documentaries are the best. Nobody does documentaries better than Netflix?
A commercial came on my timeline. A new documentary on Netflix is coming out that I would want to watch. It's
Hernandez.
Aaron
I saw
Yep,
that.
absolutely. I cannot
That's next
wait.
week. It's on Wednesday. Next week's supposed to come
Their
out.
documentaries are so well done. But so I told Nick to watch this, and what I had said was, and then unfortunately he's never seen the movie. I don't know if Brian has. I put it. It was very akin to the movie Untraceable. Have you ever seen the movie Untraceable?
I've heard of it.
It's with Diane Lane and Colin Hanks, Tom Hanks' son, and it's very akin to that because, as Nick was alluding to, the title "Don't F with Cats" makes it seem like it's going to be goofy and like really weird, right? But it actually gets super serious about. I mean, the guy, not to give away spoilers, because it's all over the internet, this guy got caught, but he actually commits a live murder on video.
Yeah.
It already happened.
Yeah. I mean, it was 2010, I think.
But it's bananas. So actually, PMT did like a breakdown of this, and we actually talked about this before PMT, so we take credit
yes,
for bringing
we
this up first.
teased it before.
They got it from us.
Of course they did. They love to take content from us. This isn't the first time.
But they did. They were bringing up different points like throughout the thing, and they were like, "Yo, so did the people like the hunters actually cause him to continue because that's what he wanted. He wanted that chase."
That's right. And so
that's crazy.
As someone was texting me about it when I told them to watch it, and I was saying, well, here's the question. Would he have continued to progress with the videos if it didn't get so much attention? If the people that are hunting him didn't make that group and didn't go over the top, he wanted the attention. That's what he wanted. And what they were talking about when he posted a video about how to disappear, right? Like on the internet, he said, there's no point in disappearing or doing any of this if you're not being chased. So basically he kind of alludes to them that, yeah, the only reason that I'm doing it is because you're chasing me.
He would have kept doing it, I think.
Probably. I mean, I don't want to give any spoilers away because I really want everybody to get a chance to watch it because it is really, really good. Nick, it's
psychopaths, man. They're smart, dude. There's not a dumb psychopath out there, and that's a smart ass thing to say to pin it on somebody else. Of course,
100%, and that's what you learn from these Netflix documentaries. Did you watch the one about Ted Bundy?
No, hold on. Let me call T for timeout on that because they actually mentioned that on the podcast on PMT when I listened to it. So they were like, he wasn't that smart. Like after he posted the murder, and he left all his evidence behind in that trash thing. I don't know if that was in Toronto or Montreal.
That was in Montreal.
He left like envelopes with his name on it and his address,
yes.
and like so he wanted people to like chase him down.
Yes,
like, that's
why he did it.
So once he went over to where did he actually end up getting caught?
So he got caught in
Montreal,
Paris.
He
flew to
that's
Paris,
right, that's right.
but
with the same clothes on.
Remember, he left the shirt. Oh, we're like now we're telling the whole story. He leaves the shirt.
Oh, I know.
He leaves the
is bad.
shirt
We shouldn't have
hanging
done
in
that.
the closet that he gets on the flight with because he knows they're going to come after him. So he actually is smart. Like he did that on purpose to throw them off the trail. He wanted to be chased.
I don't think he was very smart.
The irony of how he gets caught too, I don't want to give it away, is super ironic, right? Like because he wanted the attention so much, and then he goes and seeks it out, and then gets caught.
And that's the thing. That's the part of this whole thing is like he was the most. He wanted attention more than anything in the whole world. It was so weird. Like, listen, Jack and I don't shy away from talking about ourselves, but this guy was like, he set up these, all these different websites of like how he was this celebrity, but he wasn't.
Right, he
and
wasn't.
People were like,
He's nobody.
Who is this guy?
Yeah, he basically makes all these websites because he photoshops his picture onto a bunch of models and then like acts like he's jet setting the world. Yeah, like he acts like he's this Instagram dude model.
Oh, he was like trying out for different reality shows.
Yeah,
like with his shirt off and stuff. Like,
I should do my best. Luca Magnotta.
His voice
is
bad.
Name. Well, it's like when he does the interview for the show.
So creepy.
Oh yeah, I've been told I have a very deep voice.
You can tell right away. There's something wrong.
Well, they say something to him. They're like, "Oh, your voice is really deep. Are you trying to do that?" No, I've been told I have a really deep voice.
Yeah, it was like really creepy.
Suffer from voice modulation.
That was it. Yeah, that was a. What was that? A Will Ferrell?
Yeah, Will Ferrell.
No,
I drive a Dodge Stratus.
That was a really. I mean, it was worth the watch. To be honest with you, I was like, first of all, I was just worried about seeing cats get killed. Like that's not really what I want to see. And you kind of see some of it. It's kind of disturbing.
It's shitty.
Yeah, it's not great.
It's shitty,
especially at the beginning. But once you get through that part, if you can, I mean, it's worth the watch.
Highly recommended. Netflix docu. Don't fuck with cats. And we are going to be talking about that Aaron Hernandez doc. So you better be on it like as soon as it comes out because we're going to be talking about it.
Yeah. And another Netflix show just got into last night. I'm on episode 4 already.
Let me guess.
Go ahead.
The Witcher.
No.
Did you watch The Witcher?
No.
Shit.
Nope.
Okay, go ahead.
Brian, do you have a guess?
Is it a cartoon?
No.
I'm out.
It's called You.
I've heard the craze.
So yeah, so me and Amanda,
Season 2 of You, right?
me and Amanda have. Is it? Well, no, we started last night. I did
But
start in
there's
2018.
There's 2 seasons.
Yeah,
Right? Yeah.
but recently it's been getting some buzz, and we started watching it last night. I actually jumped in on episode 2 because Amanda started watching it without me. So I'm like, all right, time out. If I'm going to sit down here and watch this, you got to let me know what's going on in episode 1. She ran it by. Like, I'm totally in. This is totally a binge for me now.
Yeah, I've heard people raving about it. They already confirmed season 3.
Is it another psychopath movie?
Yeah, it kind of is, man. It
It's not my
totally
cup of
is.
tea, man.
Huh?
It's not my cup of tea. I don't like voluntarily sit my ass down to get scared or
Well,
get
you're a
my
big animation guy.
blood, my blood fucking throbbing. Like,
All right,
You're
Boner made a
big
comment.
animation.
I want to touch on it, but I don't want to do too many spoilers, Boner. So
Yeah, but
you're right.
don't spoil it for everybody.
You're right. That's true. But remember, there's also parts of Catch Me If You Can in him, right? Like he took a bunch of movies, Casablanca with the movie poster. So like, there's a bunch in there. But yeah, that's one of the many crazy things about this guy for sure.
Definitely worth checking out.
Yeah, for sure.
And
All
check out You too, because it's got me drawn in.
I've heard-
I have
the
to
Netflix
admit.
show, not the band.
Yeah, You season 2.
Well,
You also.
You/2.
no, it's called You.
You. YOU.
You as well.
Yeah. Since I brought it up, The Witcher is an amazing show on Netflix. Also, now that's a little more on. It's Lord of the Rings feel, but I played the video game The Witcher, so like it was cool to me.
Is that where your gun's from? The Witcher?
No, the gun is from Apex Legends actually, but it would be cool if it was from The Witcher. And I was talking about it, I would have brought it up.
We should have brought those guns
Should have
up
brought
here.
them up. Yeah, put them on the table.
Yeah.
They'll be hanging behind here some point.
I do not.
I
do not.
Swags.
So Henry Cavill plays The Witcher, and he's the guy that played Superman in Superman vs. Batman, right? And he does a great job. It was awesome. It's really, really cool.
Does he play Jesus too?
Oh, yikes. In what movie?
The Passion?
Oh, God. I don't know.
Getting deep.
He's a man witch.
Yeah.
So it's a wizard movie.
A man witch.
So, no. He's not a man witch. So basically, what a Witcher is you have to imagine that it's Lord of the Rings times, right? So there's like goose and goblins and shit like that. So he goes around killing that shit. That's what he does. He kills dragons and goblins and ghosts and all that bullshit. That's what a Witcher is called. So that's the premise. It's cool. Anybody that's into that, these guys.
Have
are
you ever
making fun
seen
of me.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer?
These guys are making fun of me. But The Witcher is awesome.
Yes to both.
Yes. All right. So before we get into last week's playoff action, because we have a lot to talk about, we have a bone to pick with Proph here, honestly. While we're sitting here, Proph asked a question about watching football on Sunday, and he said, when the Eagles are on, do you red zone? My immediate response is, well, sure. Like when there's commercials or halftime, like or breaks, I will flip the red zone. And Proph reveals that he watches way too much red zone.
I
during
do.
the
I
Eagles
get
game.
sucked into the red zone, dude.
Violation.
I have to. You have a lot of things going on the line through red zone. You put your money in before the games. You got your fantasy going, especially later on in the season. I mean, it's hard not to get sucked into red zone. Is it not?
It is, but you got to have discipline.
I know, and
discipline.
The only reason I brought it up is because I feel guilty about it.
Yes.
I'm just airing.
Well,
I'm just confessing.
confess to the people of your
the
sins,
people
my
that-
son.
Look at the camera and tell
Yeah, yeah. Don't look at me.
Apologize.
People-
Confess to the people.
out there in Facebook world. That's from Blue Streak. You remember that movie?
Yes, yes.
No,
Martin
but
Lawrence.
no, seriously. Like I get drawn into it. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna miss a second and whatever from the 29.
On offense?
Yeah,
bro?
anytime.
Dude,
dude.
what a
I'm telling you.
violation.
I am just being honest with you.
I was going to say 10 Hail Marys, but now it's like 30.
I'm
Jeez.
just being honest with you. I check in. I do. I
I
always
get the
check back in.
defense because whatever, but like offensive snaps.
No, I'm more of a
Yikes,
defensive
bro.
guy myself. So yeah,
Eagles
like
season's over.
who do I want to watch? Do I want to watch all these games going on with action going on, or I want to watch the Eagles versus the Redskins in October? You don't sympathize?
Listen, I'm breaking it down. I'm like Jaws. I'm studying the
I'm
film.
sorry. I
Breaking
just
down
like-
replays.
I
First
tape.
world problems. I get it. But
I taped them.
I mean,
re-
listen.
I
Red Zone,
record them.
Red Zone is amazing, but when the Eagles are on, I'm watching 95% Eagles games.
I DVR the Eagles games, but I never actually go back and watch. them.
Well, yeah. So what's the point?
I don't know, man.
Yikes.
Just in case I need to see stuff. just in case we get heavy on the pod and I need to break some stuff down.
We're going to be breaking down last game, particularly a couple plays. Of course, we're teasing now.
Last week, I was at a dinner with my family in Chinatown, and the only way I could get the Eagles game was to have my cousin put it on his phone and stream it on whatever app he was watching, Yahoo Sports. And then I had to Google Chrome my phone and cast it onto a TV, and it was literally bootlegging his screen.
Oh my God!
See, this is dedication.
Sitting on your couch, watching Red
Zone.
Bro, why can't you just log into your Verizon account and watch it?
Because I wanted to cast it on the freaking.
Oh, you wanted everybody to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then we all watched it on the big screen, but it was a camera of my cousin's phone.
Well, I'm a big time think for myselfer, so I would never do that. But I have watched. When my son was baptized, I did watch it on the phone.
Yikes! Hopefully, Amanda's not watching. Yikes!
No, not during church, but when we were at the luncheon.
I didn't think this was going to turn into a full confessional for Proph here, but apparently we're just airing out the closet.
Listen, it's a new year. I'm getting things off my chest.
Lighten your load. Yeah. Unburden yourself, my son.
All right. I think that's about enough on that topic.
Yeah, we're going to move on to the games now before Nick reveals more of his sins.
You guys ever see the show You?
So we did have Wildcard Action last weekend, 2 games Saturday, 2 games Sunday. We're going to go in order of the games, and the Eagles game was last. Of course, we're going to have a lot to talk about there. We're going to start. It took the Texans overtime to beat the Bills. I watched the game. The game was dreck, to be honest.
It was exciting, though.
Yeah, but it wasn't a lot of offense. There were some big plays. It was kind of sloppy.
Like I said, I'm a defense guy.
Yeah, you would like defense because they won 19.
No, it was sloppy. It was definitely sloppy, but it was exciting.
Well, it's exciting because they went to overtime.
I know.
Yeah, but it was slop. I mean, do you take anything away from that game? Because I didn't. I mean,
I do.
I think the Bills are very good.
I do. And it's what I've been saying all year is I think Deshaun Watson is like a stud.
Yes, he is.
I mean, when it comes down to crunch time, he performs, and he has done that throughout his college career, and now he's doing it in the playoffs finally.
Yeah, I can get behind that. I mean, I'm a Watson guy. I still don't think he's
Everybody was on the Bills. Who were you on, Brian?
I was on the Bills. And Deshaun Watson and the Houston Texans, they have to come from behind. That's how their offense works.
Yes.
They just gun it down the field. And if they were playing with the lead, I think they would have lost it in the last moments of the game.
I actually agree with that. That's a good point because they are a team that very much thrives when they're behind and they're no huddling because that's when Deshaun is so dangerous, right? Because of his legs.
It's Mad Libs.
Right. Because of what he can do, like backyard football or sandlot football, like Madden would say, right? Oh, I put the turkey in the bucket.
Oh, jeez.
Like that. But that's when Watson's at his best because of his legs and because of his running ability. And that's not to say that he's not a good passer because to my surprise, he has developed into an above average NFL passer, which I didn't quite know if he'd be able to do out of college. So he does have a live arm and he does make good throws, but when he gets outside the pocket is when he just shreds you.
I've always liked him. I think we talked about this.
Yeah, we did. We talked about this in depth. We talked about our top 5 quarterbacks, and we were asking, do you have Watson?
I've always liked him, and I always thought he had that kind of – he's a killer.
Yeah, he's a leader. He's a winner.
He's definitely going to win a Super Bowl.
Definitely going to win
a Super Bowl. Not this year. I'm saying –
wow, okay.
Not this year, but I'm saying in his career, he's definitely going to win a Super Bowl.
Okay. I'm not so sure if I agree with that.
I'd put money on that, definitely.
Okay.
But O'Brien's not going to be there forever.
No, he won't.
I think there's some hindrances on the coaching side of things there.
Well, I think a lot of the older school coaches like O'Brien need to start adapting more to the college slash run and gun, shotgun, option, read option, all that with running quarterbacks in the NFL. And we're seeing it more and more with Kingsbury, right, coming up with the college quarterback. They need to adopt more of that system because Watson's never going to be a stay-in-the-pocket kid. And if you try and keep him there, you're just going to stifle his offensive capability.
I don't know. I think he can. I think he can stay in the pocket if he needs to. But when it breaks down, he can make something happen. But the whole thing of it is, when you look at their offense, they were different without Will Fuller. Like, they were totally different. The kid cannot stay healthy. So, like, I don't know what the deal is, but it's always a hamstring. It's always a hamstring.
This is the 4th year in a row, right? That
it's brutal,
yeah,
man.
I mean, he's hurt every year.
It's brutal. Like, he opens everything up for Hopkins and everything else in between. But the kid literally cannot stay on the field. He tears his hamstring like every other
practice.
week.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
it's ridiculous.
Yep.
It's like a Deshaun Watson. Or
I
Deshaun,
agree.
Deshaun Jackson, I meant.
So Texans move on. We'll talk about the upcoming games when we recap these. Second game, big news here, actually. A lot happened. The Titans knock off the Patriots in New England. Big deal. Proph and I, more so me than Proph, but Proph was semi on board with the Titans. I told you, watch out for the Titans. Told you the Titans were good.
Remember the Titans.
Make sure they remember. Derrick Henry's a monster. I mean,
Yeah.
Derrick Henry is an absolute freak, beast, stud monster.
For sure.
And when he's got that running game going, they've got a solid defense. They muck and grind. Interesting statistic that I saw. I don't know if you guys saw this last week. Speaking of running team, the top 4 offenses by rush this year all made the playoffs. The top 4 by pass all missed the playoffs.
Really?
Yep.
Break that down for me. Who are those teams?
We have to pull it up, but that's a true statistic.
I don't believe you.
All right, I'll pull it up while we're talking here. Top 4 rush teams, because it's the Ravens, Titans are 2 of the top 4 made playoffs, and the top 4 by pass, Cowboys are 1. So there you go. I know for a fact the Cowboys are 1. They didn't make the playoffs. So your top 4 teams by pass didn't make the playoffs. Top 4 teams by run made the playoffs. Run the ball, control the clock. As much as we want to play
A lot of that
forward
is
pass.
A lot of that is if you're winning, what do you do?
Well, yeah, you get to. That's the point. You get on top of guys and you get to run. You get to play downhill, as they like to say, right? You get to control the clock. You don't want to throw the ball around 50 times. See Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston will get you 400 yards and 4 touchdowns, but he'll give you 4 picks, 1 pick 6, and a fumble.
And he's probably going to get paid.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, clearly the kid can play, but he doesn't take care of the ball.
Led the league in passing.
Well, yeah, exactly. Like he can throw it around everywhere, but he's going to throw 25 interceptions.
So Brian, what do you have to throw in on this particular game? Because I wanted to ask a question to Jack because I'm kind of hazy on it myself. So
Sorry, which game I was
Titans,
trying to look up that stat.
Titans, Pats.
My theory about playoff football is whoever's got the best run game, who's got the best established run game and can hold on to the ball and run the clock out. And Derrick Henry is a beast. I believe in his run game. There's no other better running back in the league this year. So I'm riding the Titans.
So that's kind of part of my question. So Derrick Henry has been in the league for how long?
I think it's his 3rd year. Right?
And he has never been like this dominant a force. Ryan Tannehill comes along, and all of a sudden, he's trucking everybody. What's the deal with that?
I just think that it's like that type of runner is seasonal, and that's the postseason. It's like late in the year, and you're going to face a bruiser, and people don't want to
But he was the lead rusher all year. Like, it's not like it's –
But the style is effective in January, February.
I think, Prof, you're asking, like, why did it take him this long?
Yeah, for a couple of years
Well, his
now.
first year he got hurt. His rookie year he got hurt, and then last year he split a lot of time. Like, he wasn't the feature back last year. Because
I know
for a fact. I've had him last 2 years.
So that was my question.
Yeah.
How many years has he been in the league?
Yeah, he's been in league 3, of what I recall, and his first season he got hurt, and so he wasn't a full. And then last year he wasn't even a full.
I mean, dude, he's just an animal.
He's
like,
a
he
beast.
just runs people over. Doesn't
Imagine
care.
being a D-back trying to tackle that kid. Like, are you kidding me? Dude, God bless. Even if you dive at his knees, like literally, he'll kill you. He'll just.
So what do you guys? So we say that now we see them going up against Baltimore right this week, and their run game is nothing to sneeze
number
at.
1 in the league.
So where are we going here?
Number 1 in the league. Well, that's what we'll talk about. You're getting ahead of us.
My bad.
You're getting ahead of us, bro. So moving into Sunday, another upset. And I actually want to talk a little bit about this game because something weird happened and is happening with the Saints. The Vikings and Kirk Cousins, you like that, go into New Orleans and win legit this time, unlike last year, which is what it is, right? But again, the Saints, who all season dominate the regular season, seem to be a Super Bowl team, end up getting knocked out. At home. What is missing with this team? I'm open to hear what you guys think, but one thing that has come out before you guys get into that of the Saints is like there was a lot of sideline dissension and guys arguing during the game. What's going on with them? I don't understand.
That's why they weren't motivated to play well.
No more cash for knocking people out.
There's a lot of that on every team, and we saw that with Minnesota too. Minnesota had that too. Xavier Rhodes is yelling at people. I mean, I don't know if it's fair to just point that at the Saints and say, hey, yeah, these guys are yelling at each other on the sideline. That happens every week. The question I have to ask is, why do we keep mentioning Sean Payton as this like God coach?
That is a good question.
Is it because he can use Taysom Hill every once in a while?
Because he won a Super Bowl.
Doesn't hurt.
Doesn't hurt.
Yeah, it doesesn't hurt. But
Different.
okay, what if Taysom Hill is the best player in the league and he's sitting him out 90% of the snaps? What if that is the case? Like, we keep bringing up Sean Payton. This is the best coach in the league. We got to trust this guy. He's won a Super Bowl. It's like, yeah. So is Mike McCarthy. So is all these guys that have been fired in the past, right? And obviously, they put up the stats throughout the regular season. They're a great home team during the regular season, but they haven't won in 11 years now.
Yeah.
So why do we keep doing this?
Dude, I'm with you, actually. And one thing that I wanted to mention about Sean Payton and the Saints is what I don't like about what he does is I feel like he tries to overcoach, to your point. I know the Hill plays are always successful, but maybe you save them for the fourth quarter and not the first quarter. Like, I felt like the first half of that game was all Hill. Like, in one series, he had the deep bomb catch. He threw a bomb, right? Like, it was all in the first quarter. Why would you lead with that and not end with that, right? Like, to me, you got to save that type of schemes for later in the game, because with the Saints high-powered offense, I feel like they should be able to come out in their standard sets and score. And you do all this trickery early, and then you're all hyped up. But then third, fourth quarter, I mean, the second half, they had no offense at all.
Right.
I think it's the value of when you do it. Like, obviously, you're defending that. That's typical. You expect the trick plays in the fourth quarter late. And if you're going to cash it in, it's still 7 points in the first quarter, no matter when you score it. And maybe he's zigging by zagging. Like,
you could be right, but then the question that I raised to that point is that a lack of confidence in his standard offense then? Because, you know, I looked at Andy Reid, right, and Doug Peterson, obviously from Philly, and they have their type of trick plays. Andy scripts his plays, and there's no team better, right, than an Andy Reid team the first 20 plays of the game, because they're going to tear you up. Like, does Andy scripts his plays, but then come second half, he starts to bumble and fumble because he can't adjust. But he saves his trick plays for the second half because he scripts the first half. And to a point, I understand what you're saying, because you come out, you're not expecting the trick plays, right, and they work. But when are you really expecting those trick plays? In the third and fourth quarter, they'd be just as effective, my opinion. And that's when they hit harder than in the first quarter, because, yeah, it's 7, but, I mean, that was that one drive where they scored the touchdown, where Hill got the touchdown. That was pretty much like all him, right? But how many points did they have for the whole game? Like 20? 20, 23? Like, they didn't run the score up like we expect the Saints to, right? At home, where they're supposed to be comfortable under the dome, they didn't run the score up. And I just don't understand what happens to this team come playoff time.
Well, I think one of the things, and to Brian's point about rushing and the lack of confidence, to your point, is what's Alvin Kamara been doing all year? Like, he's been almost non-existent.
Yeah, he didn't have a good year.
Even as a pass catcher, he's been non-existent. So I think that takes kind of the wind out of your sails as a play caller, number one. But, you know, like you said, if you don't have a rush attack, like Latavius Murray is like a better rusher all year than Alvin Kamara.
Kamara didn't have a good year at all.
But, like, I don't know. I think that just, like, sucks the life out of your team. And as a play caller, it does kind of limit you if you can't have confidence in that on the early downs. But at the same time, like, if the guy's not producing for you, like, make a change.
Yeah.
Make a change.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't see him as this guru that we all think of him as.
So you don't think Peyton's a top 5 coach in the league then? He wouldn't make your top 5?
Honestly, I don't. I didn't go through it.
No,
but I would have to go through it.
Spitballing. You know, I like to throw them out there. Matty High says Vikings outright. Are you talking about this week, Matty, or are you talking about just last week? Because we're not to the new games yet.
No, he's calling this week.
This week Vikings outright?
A lot of people are calling this week.
Oh boy, that's a bad sign.
They are.
That's a bad sign.
They are.
You like that?
I mean, I don't know.
Dude.
You like that?
But that's my opinion on this game. Is it was mismanaged and he got beat by Mike Zimmer and Kirk Cousins.
You like that? That's still the best. You like that?
And you can tell the difference in the Minnesota offense when they have Thielen on the field.
Yeah, well, I mean,
and that was another argument was that Thielen was getting too many looks and Stephon Diggs was really pissed about it. That's another argument on the sideline from.
But every diva number one /
But
want to be number one wide receiver
listen,
always does that.
We're in the playoffs here. Like if your guy's getting looks and he's eating up yards and you guys are moving it down the field, like who cares at that point, dude? Like this isn't fantasy season.
Bro,
like
I need my catches. I need my time. I need my money.
Everybody wants to make the bonuses.
Yeah,
right?
I need my targets, man. Playoffs. All right. So last game of the day, obviously, Seattle Seahawks came to Philly to play the Eagles. A lot happened in this game, but most important, the biggest thing that happens in the first quarter, Wentz sort of scrambles forward and does what he typically does. He dives forward instead of feet first sliding to give himself up. He gets hit in the back of the head by Clowney, and he ends up getting a bad concussion. He's out of the game. Couple things here on that. I'm going to stop right there. I almost immediately, when they showed the replay, went to social media and made a post. But the first thing that I want to ask both you guys, when you watch the play real time, did you even think anything of it?
I don't remember, but obviously right away they show it.
Right. Brian, when you watch real time, did you think
the first time you see Carson go, like whenever you see Carson go down head first, you're always like, please get up.
Yeah, like I hear he's going back to his head. I'm like, oh, he'll be all right. He'll be all right. That was my initial feeling. He'll be all right.
So then we find out he's in the concussion protocol, and then he's going back to the locker room, and they show the replay, and then you go, okay. They show the replay. You see where he gets hit.
Yeah.
You see how he gets hit.
It doesn't take much. Dude.
Yeah.
I can sympathize with that. Like, if your head bounces on the floor like a basketball.
100%. As soon as you saw the replay, you saw where he got hit in the back of the head, and then his head bounces off the turf, and you're like,
but
okay.
yeah, as a fan nowadays, mentally you go through this progression where you're like, oh, that looked pretty shitty, and then you see it in slow mo, you're like, oh wow, that looked really bad.
That looked really bad.
Like, oh, and then 10 comes up, and you're like, oh no.
Yeah.
And once you see that 10 come up with a head injury, he's done.
Yep.
Like you just know he's done.
In today's league and not get checked out. And they're not
like
going to let you back in.
20 years ago, he would have come back.
100%.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Not even that far, dude. Like a couple years ago.
Yeah, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, before concussion. Tell the truth.
I woke up and didn't know who I played last week.
Yeah.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
No,
so,
I mean, it was brutal. Like, because once that feeling hits you where he's not coming back, and you have this 42-year-old guy in there, it's like, and no offense to McCown, he did a decent job. And he ripped his hamstring.
By the way, he
bone.
played with a ripped hamstring.
But still, once he goes out, it's like, but part of you, being a Philadelphia fan, is like, oh, we did this a couple years ago.
No, he's not Jeff.
It didn't feel the same.
I know, but part of you just
didn't feel the same.
The whole season went the same way. It was just a different episode of the same season.
I know, but
and it was finally Carson was the guy.
Yes.
That,
and Carson's going to make it, and Carson's going to be here for the playoff game, and then he's out. But the first thing that I said in a post was, 1, was the Clowney hit dirty?
Yes.
2, does Carson need to stop diving head first and take more care of himself?
Yes.
Or 3, is it a combination of both?
I just said yes on both. So yeah.
Yeah.
Was it a dirty hit? I think the dirty hit didn't occur on the field. It occurred off the field as Clowney was leaving and just shitting on him.
Well, that too.
And he took out our leader.
Yes, that too. That too. Clowney has a track record, right? I mean, he's a guy, but at the same time, these are defensive linemen. Like, they're nasty.
That's not defensive play, man.
They're nasty. They're nasty. They're dirty. That's their job. Like, that's what it is.
It's football, man.
But Carson, so here's the difference. We just watched the best in the league at sliding, right? Russell Wilson, nobody better. Man. Nobody better. Get you 8 yards and then just give himself up, right? But Carson,
baseball turn.
Remember Vic couldn't do that? Remember that? Remember that back when Reed was
yeah,
here with Vic and the whole discussion, well, Vic can't slide feet first. Like, first off, who can't slide feet first? Like, come on, man. But it's that instinct to head first, ball forward, right, get an extra yard or 2, but it is not worth the shot you can take. As soon as Russ Wilson goes feet first, you immediately have to back off, right? Like, if you touch him, if you put
it's a 5-yard halo.
Yeah, if you touch him, if you smack him 15 yards, you can't touch him when he dives feet first because he's already down. The ball doesn't progress, right? Like, he's just down. Yeah. But Carson now, for the 3rd time, has gotten himself hurt diving head first instead of sliding, and so then it comes back to Carson has got to learn, or else he's not going to last in this league, that if you're going to leave the pocket, you cannot dive head first when you're going to the ground. You can't do it.
Okay, so while very true, there was a 280-pound missile going at him with his hands behind his back, head first. So for you to say it's not a dirty play,
I didn't say it wasn't dirty.
And
I think it was dirty.
and then of all things, to not have a flag for it at all, to not have anyone review it at all, like that's total BS. That's total BS.
Okay.
Like the guy was literally on the ground. He had hit down with both elbows and knees at that point. And this dude, who is the most athletic player in the league, probably, if not, he's probably in the top 10 for his size at the least.
He's a monster.
Comes in with his head, doesn't put his hands on him at all, doesn't try to brace himself at all.
Crown the helmet
on
down.
A guy that's already touched down, and he just goes head first into him. I get it how fast these guys are moving. I totally get that. But at that point, the dude is literally touching the ground.
Yeah.
There's no reason for you to go head first with your hands behind your back.
Okay, let me clarify what I was saying. I'm not saying that it wasn't dirty, and I'm not defending Clowney. What I'm saying is that these guys do it and don't care, right? Like, that's part of the game. If Carson is going to continue to leave the pocket, he cannot leave himself open to take that hit, because those guys are going to take that opportunity 9 out of 10 times when he dives head first.
If he's not playing this week, would he care? Like, if there was a chance of him not playing this week, he would probably care, right?
Well, but that's on the NFL. Right?
Yeah, I
That's
know.
on the NFL.
That's part of it.
They didn't flag it, and now I just read the article about the investigation, actually, which is why I wanted to bring it up. So the NFL still investigating. 4 days later, they started investigating it 2 days after, which I don't quite understand what took so fucking long, right? The game was played. Now you should be investigating it immediately. Like, you have so much more to do at the NFL offices. Like, these guys are a fucking joke. Like, I don't want to go on a rant about it, but
they're processing new coaches'
Mm,
paperwork.
Yeah, like, blow me. This is all over. It's the outcome of the game. It's extremely important. You say that protecting your players and the heads of your players and quarterbacks is paramount, and yet it takes you 2 full days to even start an investigation as to whether or not it was a dirty hit. Here's the problem. This is why the NFL is in a bad position here, because officiating this year has been criticized at the highest level, and that play didn't draw a flag. So now, if they go and find him, which needs to happen and better happen for that play, then they have to admit that the referees fucked up and when they didn't throw a flag. So literally, they're now sort of stuck and dragging their feet when realistically, Clowney probably shouldn't play this week. To your point, if this is college, right? That's targeting.
Yeah.
The guys, it's reviewed. The guy's ejected.
Yep.
And
we saw that in the playoffs.
But because the NFL hasn't really adopted that type of rule yet to review this stuff, now they're sitting there going, man, are we going to – Carson Wentz is Philadelphia, major market, huge team. Carson Wentz, future star, current star, knocked out a game. We didn't have a flag. Man, this is going to look bad if we find him after the fact. Like, they're now in such a bad spot. Grow a fucking pair and do it. These things happen. When we talked about the NBA game where James Harden didn't get points for dunking the ball, right? And the NBA didn't want to admit it. This stuff happens, and that's what replay and these slow-motion cameras show us. But this guy's got to be fined, and I think he should be sat down this week, personally. I get it if he's not, but there's got to be a fine for that hit. It can't go by.
I said it right away.
I agree, man.
Brian's on board. I thought you said that it wasn't a dirty hit.
The rules. You gotta remember, like, when he was playing, those weren't the rules.
When who was playing?
When Clowney, growing up, and your coach is teaching you how to tackle. He's been playing with that style and that aggression. It's really hard to pull up.
He told you how to kamikaze dive bomb, like, right on the back of his head?
I mean, he probably grew up watching a lot of B-Dog suplex videos and things like that. And, like, that nature just doesn't kind of just turn off. If you've been taught that, and yes, within the rules and regulations of today's game, it's 100% a penalty. It's just, I don't fault him because it's the game, man. I played and I fucking got hit, and you hit, and, like, you just react, and it's all part of the game.
All right. I mean, I hear you. I just think that if you're gonna make a rule, make it a rule.
Well, that's it.
Like,
and while I empathize with what Brian is saying, and most football guys, everybody, right, says that because we grew up with a game where jacked up was a segment when we were teenagers, right? Like we understand that,
We
but
grew up through that. I can get it.
Yeah.
Like the next guys in the next classes in
but
NCAA.
this
coming to
is
the NFL,
they
they're gonna
literally
pull up.
because of, and I was joking about it with the the Will Smith impersonation, but because of concussion and because like the league is aware because these guys are vegetables after they play, and it's almost solely due to the head trauma, right? Like your brain being scrambled around your head, and they're trying to implement, or sorry, let me rephrase that. They're not trying to implement. They have implemented rules that forebode that leading with your head, and I don't understand how watching it, right? Like literally the referees, right? I mean, clearly he dipped at the crown of his head to make the hit to a guy going to the ground. The flag has to come out.
Yeah, it does. It's a tough spot for the ref, man. You can't win.
No, you can't. You can't win. And again, we get to watch it 800 times in slow motion again,
Yeah,
and the refs have to
everything
call it on the
looks
field.
worse in slow motion.
So
Yeah, why not implement the we see it in college literally every game where they go back and they take a
Targeting
look
replay?
at it. I mean, yeah.
Money,
listen,
probably.
here's the deal. We talk
What's
about
that?
this.
Money.
What about money?
There's money in it, and they're not gonna freaking.
There's money in it for fines. They could make that money up on fines alone.
This is the problem. We talk about this with every sport. We talk about it with baseball a lot, with replay, with NBA, and with NFL. Here's the problem. When you implement replay into any sport, you can't do it halfway, right? Like, again, it happened with, we talked about the PI incident last year with the Saints, right? And then this year they made it, now you can challenge.
Which, by the way,
PI.
we didn't even talk about in that game.
Right.
We didn't even talk about in the Saints
Right.
Vikings game.
Right.
Which is totally a joke.
Yeah, they implement this rule. Now you can challenge PI. If you're bringing replay in, how can you actually limit what you're allowed to fucking challenge in replay? Literally, we get to see every play in replay. So if you say you want to get the game right and you have these rules and you're going to officiate everything, I don't understand how penalties can't be challenged, holding everything, right? I mean, I know we don't want to slow the game down.
No.
But how can
no,
you differentiate?
no,
Who gets to
no,
decide?
no.
Who gets to decide?
Dude, we do not.
Who gets to decide?
That's the thing. So
That's my question, though. Who gets to decide?
The commissioner gets to decide, obviously. But what they're going to do is, okay, let's challenge everything now. They're going to do the same thing they did with pass interference this year, where it's, okay, you can challenge it, but we're not going to change it.
Well, yeah,
it's a total joke. It's just a waste of everyone's time. It's an extra commercial for them.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. You understand that?
I agree.
That's what it's all about.
That's my point.
An extra challenge means an extra commercial, which means extra money in everyone's pocket. And we're never going to turn the TV off.
I wonder what the statistics were this year with challenges of PI that actually got overturned. I think it was like 2 out of like 80 or 85 that got challenged. Like, it's an absolute joke.
It's literally why, that's the theory behind why I truly believe that the NHL is blackballed from major market television, is because the pace of play is so quick and the games go so quick and there's no breaks in the action that there's no time to market anything. There's no time to sit there and put in a commercial break, because the pace of play
is natural break.
It's such a big thing in the game. It's such an important part of the game that the networks are, what am I going to do? Come and play this 2-hour game with no commercial breaks.
It's interesting.
Listen, it's fact almost.
Listen,
it's
in
almost
NBA and NFL, they have television timeouts.
Yeah.
They just stop the game at certain points on the clock.
Yeah, which in hockey
for television
you can't do that, because it's such a big part of the game to keep the play going, because that's very important, is how much you can wear down the other team. Like, so if we get like these timeouts here and there, it's like you're getting a rest.
That's actually very interesting. But the reason that
you remember the days of where ABC carried hockey.
Sure.
It was amazing.
Well, but I was going to tell you why ABC, and because ABC is owned by Disney, right?
Yeah. So it was on ESPN. It was on ABC.
ESPN had an NHL contract, and they lost it, I think, 8 years ago. And they talked about why now nobody on ESPN will talk about hockey, because they lost the contract. And they didn't lose it necessarily. They didn't want to. They didn't want to pay for it.
They will play the highlights on like top 10.
Right,
but that's about it.
Because they don't air it anymore. And so once ESPN lost it, then Disney lost it, so ABC loses it, right? They're not going to play on ABC. They're not going to play on ESPN.
But that was
so
legit,
they
dude.
have sort of blackballed it.
And you
from
probably
ESPN programming.
I don't know, Brian, if you remember, like when they played the Stanley Cup Finals or the playoffs on ABC, that was a big deal. Like they had it on every night. It was like a big deal. Now they have it on. I think NBC gets like, I don't know, 5, 6.
On the Speed
the,
channel.
the
now,
Winter
please?
Classic.
They got
yeah.
the Winter Classic. They get like that's even gone. They used to have it on Versus. They used to have it on Spike. Like all these obscure channels. Now it's on like NBC Sportsnet, where you can watch a Flyers game or a Sixers game depending on who's playing on Comcast. Like it's so that's just my theory on why they've been blackballed.
It's actually an interesting theory. I mean, I know why ESPN blackballs them, but
somebody out there probably knows exactly why in contract situation. But that's my theory on why.
No, it's interesting. It's interesting sidebar. So now that we talked about last week, now obviously Matty High alluded to it. We've got our 4 games this week, the divisional playoff round. The first game is the one that we just talked about. The Vikings traveling to the Niners. Right now, San Francisco is favored by a touchdown. Proph and Bryan, I think, seem to think that it's Vikings outright. Or I know Proph does. I don't know. Matty High thinks Vikings outright.
No. I didn't say that. I said a lot of people are on that. I didn't say that.
You're on it.
No.
You like Jimmy Graps.
I'm a big Jimmy Grops fan.
If I'm sticking to the run game theory, I'm going with Dalvin Cook. But I didn't think the Vikings were going to win last week, so I mean that might do it.
And the Niners having a very effective run game
happens.
as well, right? The Niners can run the rock, and that's what they predicate their offense on. Proph here, Brian, you may or may not know this, but Proph here, I think his favorite coach in the league may be the head coach of the 49ers.
It definitely is. Shanahan.
He loves him some Shanahan.
Big Kyle Shanahan fan. And when he got hot, well, I don't know if it was when he got hired, but at the beginning of the season or last season, I forget which one it was at this point, but I broke down how each place he's gone to, he has like completely evolved their offense going back to, I don't know. He's been in the Super Bowl. He's coached the Super Bowl with Matt Ryan, made that offense look sweet.
Yep.
And now he's just kind of kept it moving right along. But on top of that, their defense
Vicious.
is savage.
Vicious.
Their defense is savage.
Do you believe in Garoppolo?
I do. I do believe in him as a little bit more than a game manager, but with a defense like that, I think that's all you need sometimes. And with a coach like that and an offensive scheme like that, I think that's all you need.
I think the real question is, do you trust in Garoppolo, right? Because with that offense, you just need him to not make mistakes, make plays in between when you need it. The defense will keep you in the game, and you run the rock ball control. Right?
Buddy, do you trust in Kirk Cousins?
Do you like that?
I mean,
the question is, do you like that?
I mean, that's the question. It really comes down to that. I mean, it's the most important position, obviously. Who do you trust one over the other? And we've seen the track record from Kirk Cousins, and let's not act like one win takes away his entire track record.
I love Kirk Cousins, though. Seriously, like, don't you love Kirk?
Yeah, he's a nice guy. He's a real nice
guy.
Real nice fella.
He's a nice guy.
He's a real nice fella.
So, I mean, I tend to agree. 7's a lot of points to lay in a playoff game.
Are we talking betting or are we talking winning?
But whatever you want. Whatever you want. I'm talking both. I definitely think the Niners win the game. I just don't know if they cover.
Yeah.
Right?
I'd agree to that.
7's a lot of points in this game for me.
Cop out.
Well, who are you taking with the 7? You taking Niners and laying the 7?
It's a lot. I'll take the Niners. Give me Niners.
I'll take Minnesota in the points. I'll take the Vikings in the points.
What's on the line here? You guys are on opposite sides here.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. So we saw
at Mendy's.
Like I mentioned. So Thielen was a big part of the offense, right? He's got stitches in his ankle this week. It's always something here. So he's got stitches in his ankle this week. And have you ever ran with stitches in your ankle?
I don't think so.
I assume it's not a great feeling.
Yeah, but I'm sure they'll shoot him up. He'll be fine.
Maybe, but for that reason,
I love it.
I will take the Niners.
For that reason alone,
I will take the Niners.
I'll take the Niners. I like it. All right, I'm going to take Minnesota. I'm going to believe. I don't think they win, but I think that the Niners win by 4. So I think Minnesota will cover. That's my official. Brian, where you at? Who you got?
I don't know, man. Take the under.
He's taking the under. Okay. Taking the under. That's at 44.5 right now, by the way. So next game, Saturday night, the Titans, who I was on board with all year, traveling to Baltimore to play.
No, you weren't.
Bro, I have been saying for
We
weeks.
talked about them, how Jekyll and Hyde they've been
Stop it.
every single
I
week.
said, watch out for the Titans. It's on the record. Check the
My
podcast.
bro's a big Tannehill guy.
Big,
Tannehill.
huge
Yeah.
Tannehill guy.
Check the first
Huge-
5 minutes of this podcast
Huge.
and you'll find it.
Huge Tannehill guy. A huge Derrick Henry guy. They're doing a tremendous job.
You're losing us followers with that.
So they're traveling to the juggernaut that is the Ravens, right? I mean, they've been a beast all year, 14-2, best record in the league. Currently a 10-point dog. That's a huge line for a playoff game.
It actually dropped from what I had it at, but yeah.
Uh-oh.
There you go.
Oh, well, that's a prop system.
It is the system. It has dropped down to, I don't know if it was at 9 or 9.5, but it did drop.
So the two teams that lead the league in rush yards per attempt, the Ravens are at 5.5. The Titans are at 5. That's tremendous. We talked about how effective running is. Brian alluded to it, how effective running is in the playoffs.
Yeah, earlier in the podcast, I think I went out of context. I was half listening. I had a brain fart, and I said I was Titans. I didn't realize they were playing the Ravens, and that's even tougher because Derrick Henry's one guy. They got Lamar Jackson on the other side
And Mark Ingram. Yeah, the Ravens are rolling. They're
very much
rolling.
over there,
So interestingly, though, the over-under is 47, higher than the Vikings-Niners game. Little surprising to me. I'm assuming that the numbers pan out there with their, offense per game or whatever, however they generate that shit. But the Ravens, 10-point favorites. I like the Ravens to smash the Titans here. I think the Titans blew their load against the Patriots. I would take the Ravens and lay the points. That's just me.
You would think that.